John stood at the door of their hut, completely lost in thought. It had all started very well. He met the most beautiful lady in Maka village. Though uneducated, she had great charms. Wamubu was very beautiful, good-hearted, and admired by every man and then in the village. John had won her heart, and in the wake of things they had slipped into a love affair before marriage, a taboo by all means that could anger his ancestors. John had to marry her, but then education stood on the way. John, a very bright man, had impressed the village by having performed so well in the missionary high school, had topped the district in the 1949 CPE examinations. By good luck, the missionaries had sponsored his further education, and he was due to leave for Uganda International University in a week's time. But then Wamuwu was pregnant, 3 months pregnant, but no one knew other than them two. He hated himself for this. How did he get himself into this mess? He almost cursed himself aloud when his father appeared from the path leading to their homestead, and he got back to his senses. His frail but energetic father was coming home from Village Street, with a rather dirty bag made out of strong calico swinging by his side. His father always carried this bag. John knew what it contained: a Bible, a hymn book, and probably a notebook and a pen. His father was a preacher. He knew it was he who had stopped his mother from telling him stories when he became a man of God. His mother had stopped telling him stories long ago. She would say to him, "Now, don't ask for any more stories. Your father may come," so he feared his father. John went in and warned his mother of his father's coming. Then his father entered. John stood aside and then walked towards the door. He lingered there doubtfully, and then he went out. "Hey, John, come back." He stood doubtfully in front of his father. His heart beat faster, and there was that anxious voice within him asking, "Does he know?" "Pal, sit down." "Where are you going?" "For a walk," Father John answered evasively. "To the village?" his father asked. "Well, yes, no, I mean nowhere in particular." His father looked at him hard, seeming to read his face. John sighed, a very slow sigh. He did not like the way his father eyed him. He always looked at him as though John was a sinner, one who had to be watched all the time. "I am," his heart told him. John guiltily refused to meet the old man's gaze and looked past him appealingly to his mother, who was quietly peeling potatoes. But she seemed oblivious of everything around her. "Why do you look away? What have you done?" John shrank within himself with fear, but his face remained expressionless. He could hear the loud beats of his heart. It was like an engine pumping water. He felt no doubt his father knew all about it. He thought, "Why does he torture me? Why does he not at once say he knows?" Then another voice told him, "No, he doesn't know, otherwise he would have already jumped at you." A consolation. He faced his thoughtful father with courage. "When is the journey?" Again John thought, "Why does he ask? I have told him many times." "Next week, Tuesday," he said. "Right. Tomorrow we go to the shops here." "Yes, father." "Then be prepared." "Yes, father, you can go." "Thank you, father." He began to move. John's heart almost stopped beating. "You seem to be in a hurry. I don't want to hear of you loitering in the village. I know, young man, going to show off just because you're going away. I don't want to hear of trouble in the village." Much relieved, he went out. He could guess what his father meant by not wanting trouble in the village. Outside, John was strolling aimlessly along the path that led from his home. He stood near the wattle tree, which was a little way from his father's house, and surveyed the whole village. It lay before his eyes, crammed rows and rows of mud and grass huts, ending in sharply defined sticks that pointed to heaven. Smoke was coming out of various huts. It was an indication that many women had already come from the Shamba. Night would soon fall. To the west, the sun, that lone daytime traveler, was hurrying home behind the misty hills. Again John looked at the crammed rows and huts that formed Makino village, one of the new mushroom towns that grew up all over the country during the Mao War. It looked so ugly, A pain rose in his heart, and he felt like dying. "I hate you! I hate you! You trapped me alive. Away from you it would never have happened." He did not shout, he just watched.